Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. And now, Financial Renaissance with the M's.
Whether you should be using a tax preparer or if you should be using an accountant/CPA. I'm also going to talk to you about some jobs that are available out there for the future and the tech arms race that's happening with the big banks, things of that nature. So pretty excited show today. My top 5 will be coming up. My Emma Knows Money will be coming up. And hopefully we have a guest. Hopefully we have a guest coming in because I'm doing a workshop this week. Again, more money moves, things to tell you what to do to kick the new year off the right when we come back in 300 seconds on Financial Renaissance with the M's. And we are back with Financial Renaissance with the M's. Happy Sunday to everybody. The sun is shining and the weather is sweet. Make me want to move my little dancing feet. Hey, listen, you are listening to us live on ssnatl.com or sensationstationnetwork.com. Or if you'd like to watch us, you can go to facebook.com, go to Sensation Station Network, and then you can watch us live in the studio, or facebook.com/not dumbed down. And then you can watch us in the studio. Also, if you're about to leave the house, you're on your way to brunch, church, go to hang out with your friends, movies, what have you, you can listen to us in the car on the app, the TuneIn app. Just go to Sensation Station Network and you can just take us along with you. If you want to text us, you have a comment about the show that you want it to be anonymous, you can text us at 678-613-5857. Join the Renaissance. All right, a couple of weeks ago, I made a comment about the dollar store and how you should be careful about what you buy in the dollar store. And sure enough, AARP actually released some information in their January-February bulletin. And this is by Lisa Lee Freeman. What she says also is that it is a good idea to stretch your dollars at the dollar store, but you do have to be careful with what you're buying. So if you're buying foods from the dollar store, you have to check the nutrition labels from packaged foods from unknown brands. So, you want to check, say, Quaker Oats, the nutrition labels versus some unknown brand's nutrition label. They also talk about doing the math to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck, but I don't have time for that. Once I'm in the store, I'm ready to buy. But here's the thing. They said use caution. Last summer, 3 chains settled New York State charges that they sold obsolete or expired goods. And in November of 2019, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, issued a warning to Dollar Tree about potentially unsafe over-the-counter drugs. So if you have a child that's in college, especially because our son did the same thing, he went to the dollar store to buy allergy medicine and a whole bunch of stuff. That's not a great idea. A lot of these products come from overseas and may not have the proper safety things. So you definitely want to check the expiration dates and beware of super cheap items that could also pose a hazard. So again, if you're shopping at the Dollar General, dollar store and all that stuff, be careful when it comes to things that you're actually going to put into your mouth. All right. Now, do you know the difference between an accountant and a tax preparer? Tax time is coming up. And as I mentioned, we really don't want to change our budgets until after this tax season. Then we'll know kind of what vein to go in. So here's what the difference is. So an accountant or an accounting professional, they have a lot of education and background in actual accounting. In order to become a certified public accountant, that's a CPA, the professional must take an exam that includes a wide range of accounting skills. This includes performing audits, preparing financial statements for businesses, government entities, and nonprofit organizations. They also have to understand corporate governance structures, and they also deal with various types of business regulations, including not only taxes, but also licensure and other requirements. So CPAs that do choose to to specialize in tax, they have those are the people that can actually do your taxes, but not all CPAs focus on preparing your individual or your business taxes. Now, one of the great things about a CPA is they are eligible to represent you before the IRS. So if you get audited, they could sit right there in that seat next to you, which makes things good. Now, a tax preparer, depending on the neighborhood that you live in, you may see a bunch of, tax prep places, hey, file your taxes here, give us your W-2 and we'll give you, $1,500 back, get your stuff back quickly. You want to be leery about those types of places. Tax preparers are a little bit different. They don't have to have the same educational background that an accountant or a CPA has. And so the quality of a person that is a tax preparer is going to vary. Some of them don't have to have any knowledge whatsoever. Now, there is someone called an enrolled agent. And they are, the federal government actually gives them the ability to prepare taxes. And they can also represent you in front of the IRS, which again, I said is very important. Now, an EA, an enrolled agent, has to pass a 3-part IRS exam covering individual and business tax returns, or they have to have, I believe it's about 5 years of experience working with the IRS. Now, the IRS also recognizes what they call annual filing season program participants. These are the people that you're going to see at the chain tax preparation, franchise tax preparation places. And again, you just want to know a little bit about their knowledge. And again, they're not going to give you Renaissance with the M's. We have my top 5 news stories of the week. Oh, and we're back with Financial Renaissance with the M. Hey, this segment of Top 5 News Stories is sponsored by Self Solstice LLC. The office of Dion Bates is a thriving practice in Marietta, Georgia, with years of experience and training behind her as a licensed professional counselor and consultant. Dr. Bates works with people from all walks of life who deal with depression, anxiety, grief, stress, and LGBTQ issues, life adjustments, and transitions. Dr. Bates focuses not just on treatment, but on sustainable mental wellness, healing, and living affirmatively. Book your appointment now with Dr. Bates by calling 678-278-2002. All right. For those of you looking for a job, you want to make 6 figures? Yo Quiero Taco Bell has something for you. That's right. Taco Bell is going to be paying some of their managers $100,000 a year. That's right. They're looking at some locations in the Northeast and the Midwest starting later on this year, but they're not to be beat. In-N-Out Burger on the West Coast, they're already paying their managers about $160,000 a year. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see what comes along with that. But again, if you are considering moving, if you're open to moving to make $100,000, you may want to check out Taco Bell's website. All right. Now this one, have you heard of Tough Mudder? Those people that like to run the long distances and get in the mud and pretend that they're doing all this ex-military basic training type of stuff. Well, it looks like Tough Mudder's creditors are trying to put them in bankruptcy. It looks like they owe close to $1 million, about $855,000 that they owe, and there's signs of distress all over the place. So it looks like the company pre-sold or got loans or advances on ticket sales, and they haven't been able to sell more tickets. So if you're considering getting involved in one of those competitions, Tough Mudder should have suspended their ticket sales. So make sure that you don't start buying tickets from them. They got an $18 million advance, and they have not been able to pay that back. So it looks like Tough Mudder may be folding. That's going to be pretty sad. All right. This one I absolutely love. There is a female founders fund, and the founder is Anu Dougal. She's the founding partner at Female Founders Fund. And what they're doing is they're looking for women who are going to be disruptors in the workplace, just disruptors, period, to be the founder of their own business. That's right. It's kind of a venture capital fund that is looking for women to back. So if you're interested, you need to go to their website, femalefounders.com, femalefoundersfund.com, and let them know about the business that you're thinking about or how you are planning on being a disruptor. Now, if you are interested in working for a disruptive company, meaning a company that is doing things differently, you can also go on their website and look for a job there as well. All right. For people who are underbanked, the global unbanked. So there are people around the world who do not have access to banks, even here in the United States. And it looks like there is a startup by the name of Tala. And what Tala is going to do, they're based out of Santa Monica. And what they're going to do is they're going to let people get loans without a credit score. What they're going to do is start using the smartphone data to determine whether or not you have the ability to pay back a loan. So Tala has raised about $220 million from private investors, and they're going to offer loans up to $500 to people without credit histories or bank accounts. So they're looking at about 250 different data points, from cell phone bill payments to online behavior. So right now they're operating in the countries of Kenya, Mexico, Philippines, and India. And so this is something that I want, my listeners to know about, because this is also going to be rolling its way here into the United States. Right now, 31% of the adult population worldwide, only 31% of the adult population worldwide is actually covered by a credit bureau. So there are tons of people out there without credit scores who are looking for ways of borrowing money. So these fintech disruptors have found a way to monetize the regulatory hurdles that just keeps traditional banks from lending money to the poor. So this is something that I'm definitely looking forward to, because it'd be nice to see what happens when people in other countries get access to monies. Now, the cost of having a baby. If you are thinking about having a baby this year, you're going to pay on average about $5,000. So if you're in the United States. In Spain, they're saying that the fees associated with having a child comes out to just slightly under $2,000. But here in the United States, if you have a healthy born child, your pregnancy is going to cost you roughly around $30,000. The royals in England paid less than, and not Harry and Meghan, but the other royals, not the famous ones, they pay about $18,000 to have a whole floor and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're paying almost twice as much in the United States to have a baby than they are in other developed nations. And that's pretty sad. So that's my top 5 news stories of the week. When we come back, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about tax preparers and filing, and then we have our special guest Jaye Meggs in the house, and we'll be talking about a workshop that I'm doing this coming week.
All about bucks, kid. The rest is conversation.
1.
And we are back with Financial Renaissance with the M's. I am your host, Emma Folks, certified financial planner by day and the defender of the middle class and the lower 99 by night and on the weekends. That's right. You are listening to me live on ssnatl.com, and you can watch us live on Facebook if you go to facebook.com/notdumbdown. Go ahead and share this show with a friend, someone that you know that needs to understand a little bit about how to choose the right tax preparer. And if you have a comment that you'd like to make, you can text us at 678-613-5857, or if you're watching me live on my Facebook page, you can go ahead and drop a comment in there, and on the Sensation Station Network Facebook page, you can drop a comment in there and we will see it. In the studio, I have with me Jaye Meggs, the nonprofit organizer, CEO, and founder of Trans Gentlemen of Excellence. Welcome, Jaye.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. You really wanted to be here today, didn't you?
I sure did.
Wow. So tell us a little bit, tell us about you. Where are you from?
I am originally born in New York, but raised in Virginia.
New York, what part of New York?
Queens.
Queens, New York?
Yeah.
What part of Queens?
I know nothing about it. I was just born there.
What? I'm from
Yeah.
Queens. Well, I lived in Queens, so you got to find out where for me.
I definitely
All
got
right.
you.
Okay. So New York is in the house, or you represent Virginia. So, what brought you down to Atlanta?
Honestly, it was my nephew. I was really close to him, and then when I got here, it was just like it was so many things to do. I had to stay.
All right. It wasn't Freaknik, right?
No,
You're too young for that.
I think I was.
You're too young for Freaknik. So, what is the Trans Gentlemen of Excellence Incorporated?
So that is a Black trans-led organization by the way of how do I explain? We pretty much service everyone, but it's led by a bunch of Black trans males.
Okay.
giving out resources and workshops, give backs, honestly, to the community.
And trans male means transitioning to male, correct?
FTM, female to male.
Female to male. Yeah, Jay spent about an hour with me in a nightclub one night and a cell phone explaining to me the LGBTQIA and all the alphabet, because I was just kind of out of sorts. And Jay was very patient with me and let me ask all types of questions and get some really, really decent answers. So I appreciate the work that you do. But you and I were actually on a board together for the Gentlemen's Foundation. That's how we met. And I think the first time I met you, I wanted to take your shoes from you.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's 5.5.
Yeah, I know. I had asked you what size and realized your feet were actually smaller than mine, so I couldn't take your shoes.
Well,
but
God.
they were adorable. Wow. So what are some of the resources? What does the Trans Gentlemen of Excellence, what do you do?
Okay, so we give out resources that are not actually easy to be found for trans men, and as well as we do give backs. One of the resources is we help people find HRT, which is the hormone replacement, testosterone, as well as the estrogen for some of the females.
Okay.
We help shelter females with that, which is another organization.
What do you mean
here.
Shelter? Like housing?
Yeah, because a lot of situations with the LGBT mainly hit hard with trans. Not only do you tell your parents you're gay, but then you tell them, look, I was born in the wrong body. So, like, parents actually push children out, or either children choose to leave because of not quite getting accepted, constantly misgendered, and not supported.
Okay.
So a lot of them live on the streets or couch surfing. 9 times out of 10, they'll probably be riding the MARTA majority of the time, which is also dangerous.
You mean to live?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was just in New York City. I didn't know they did that.
No, some of them actually do sex work to survive.
Okay, so MARTA, for those of you outside of Atlanta, MARTA is the mass transportation system that we have. It has an acronym. It stands for something else, but we won't go into that. So what are some of the givebacks that the Trans Gentlemen of Excellence organization, what are you giving back?
So we do the back to school drive just like everyone else, but we do it differently. We knock out the third parties. We no longer give our supplies to an organization like a corporate situation. Yeah.
Okay.
We actually go into the shelters or either find those families that need those items. We legit, one time we went to Greenbrier Mall and stood outside there and like asked families like, do you need school supplies? And third, they took the backpacks full of supplies.
Oh, wow.
Care packages for the individuals that are homeless. We choose to give back and make sure that we're developing individuals to leave that situation, so we don't feed the homeless unless we partner with someone else.
Okay.
We gave care packages for hygiene and just to maintain themselves like upon the streets.
You know Erica Wright?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Just making sure I didn't need to make that connection.
Okay. That's still a great connection.
Yeah.
I worked with her on one of the love packages.
Okay, yeah, I'm waiting for Erica to be a guest on the show. You know, she's
amazing.
She's busy.
That is true.
She's busy. Every time I'm ready for her to be on the show, somebody comes and picks her up and throws her in another country to do some good. So I'm waiting patiently. I mean,
she's actually doing the work.
She is doing the work, and you're doing some great work. Man. You know, are you getting national attention?
No, not at all.
Regional?
Not at all. Well, I'm working on that.
You're working on that.
That's the progress.
So what is the one thing you want people to know? You know, there's a lot of fears out there. You know, you may be in the wrong bathroom and kids may be in the bathroom with you and you may turn other people. Are you going to turn me into a guy?
No.
Is that I don't want to be a guy. Like, what is the deal with that?
So majority of the issues with the bathroom situation is towards trans women.
Okay.
It's not so much towards the trans guys.
Okay.
We transition more smoothly than the trans women, but yeah, that's an issue in different states where they're banding and fighting against us having our rights, period. When it comes to using a bathroom, they are very much so the absolute worst.
You know, I found out that whole bathroom thing was a ploy for someone who was looking to run for office. and they were looking for a way to kind of get some momentum behind them, and the thing that they were able to jump on was transgender. So there was no real deep-seated fear. It was like literally propaganda, because there was a right-wing person, and I won't say the person's name, who was trying to make a name for themselves, and that's what they decided to do.
I definitely need to talk to you offline about that.
Yeah, we'll have to talk offline about that, but it is a horrible, horrible thing.
We get picked on a lot.
Yes, and there's a lot of death. There's a whole lot of stuff that happens in the trans community that I think we need to know about. The bottom line is, let people be people. People are not trying to turn your children into something that they're not. People are not trying to turn your sexuality into something that you don't want it to be. All we're asking for is for you to be open and understanding. And from an economic standpoint, there is a lot of money that is lost in our country because of isms. Okay, and a lot of these isms have to do with ignorance, right? So whether it's racism, womanism, ageism, homophobia is isms, I'm making it is today.
Okay.
any type of ism that we have in our country is really, really hurting us, and we're losing. China is spanking the pants off of us. They haven't been in a war since 1979. Our country has been in existence since 1776. And in that time period, we have only not been fighting a war for 16 years. So we're taking all of the money that we could use for programs and funding and education and infrastructure and, technology. Was one wish that you had, or one message, well, I'm sure there's lots, that you would want to, like, let's say you were talking to someone that was on the right, very conservative here in the South, that just doesn't understand. What would you say to them? What would your message to them be about the trans community?
Man, my motto, we are more than our transition. There are people downrange that would save your life and you wouldn't know that they're trans. There's teachers, which I feel like should be getting paid so much more than
that's
athletes.
That's a whole other story.
Without their educational gift, we wouldn't be where we are today. We have firefighters. We have bankers, engineers that are trans, and we just want to equalize everything, normalize everything, because we live in the same world, and half the time they wouldn't know that we're trans if they weren't so focused on our personal
and
business.
This isn't anything new. The whole point, this isn't anything new. This has been happening. I mean, there have been LGBTQ and trans people in our world for centuries, thousands of years. And if you look at some of the hieroglyphics in Egypt, you will see two men and then facing each other, which means that they're a couple. Anytime you see people facing each other in hieroglyphics, that means that they're a couple. And then outside, you'll see their kids, and then outside of them, you'll see women. That means they had women, they had the babies with the women, but the two men were a couple, or the two women were a couple. So it's more of a European construct that kind of started this, and to make it even a little bit bigger, it's more of a British construct that makes this homosexuality thing like such a taboo. But it's just the British, and then it just kind of filtered in throughout the world. So what is one thing that you would like to accomplish by tell us about the work that you're doing, because you're giving me a little piece. And full disclosure, Jay's not feeling great today, and he still made it here today. He crawled. He's literally crawling, laying on the back seat of the car being driven to make sure he got here today. So what is one thing that you would like to accomplish by some of the work that you're doing?
I would definitely like to educate as many people as I can, remove the individuals off of the street that don't have the resources to better themselves. Like, for instance, homeless, I want to be able to give them the clothes and the hygiene kits that will help them get an interview, help individual families that don't know about programs that help them learn about credit and stock markets, certain things that will help economically develop individuals. My goal is to make sure that we are not selling ourselves short, because one thing that I've learned is if you want someone not to know anything, put it in a book. So I'm going to make sure that you don't have to read that book. I'm going to tell you what's in that book and where you can read further to better yourself.
Translator.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, and we're in this this age where people's attention spans are like that of a
Yes.
goldfish. They say so. To actually sit down and try to read a book is pretty painful. But there's a lot of knowledge there. It drives me crazy. But I was raised with, my mom was a scientist, blah blah blah. So if I said something, I had to prove it. But I had to, old school, go to the library. If I came up with something crazy, I had to prove it. Nowadays, your library is in your pocket.
Google.
Right? It's on your phone. So there's so many resources that are available out there. And one of the things that I like about what you're doing is it's good to give people stuff, but I believe in teaching people how to fish, right? And there are a lot of people who don't want people on welfare and on the, the government teat or on the state teat and things like that. But you have to give them the resources to be able to provide for themselves. Job skills is extremely important. There's an organization called Higher Hope. I did they were here late last year. They take, people who were victims of sex trafficking, people who were homeless, things like that, and they put them through a program where they give them the skills and then eventually an internship and then eventually job placement.
I need them.
Yes, you do. Just so that they can get back out there in the workforce. The jobs numbers came out in our country and they don't look very good. Our unemployment numbers are down, but people are underemployed. We're not making enough money to pay our bills. Everyone is I shouldn't say everyone, the majority of Americans are about $400 away from being on the streets. Okay. And in this country, that's mind boggling to me. We have everything in this country. My family came here with nothing, built up what we have. And for me, I always look at America as a place of hope. You know what I mean? And change. And, we should be able to accomplish anything that we want to. And just seeing a lot of the homelessness on the streets is it bothers me. It absolutely bothers me. Listen, when we come back on Financial Renaissance with the M's, we're going to continue with my guest, Jaye Meggs, when we come back in 300 seconds. And we are back with Financial Renaissance with the M's. Listen, you can follow me on the social media. On Twitter, you can follow me at Financial Ren, and at Emma Knows Money on Facebook and IG. You can follow me at Emma Knows Money and also Financial Renaissance. And on YouTube, search Emma Knows Money, and I need you to subscribe. I need another 100 subscribers. So go to YouTube, search for Emma Knows Money, and subscribe for your girl. All right. We are here with Jaye Meggs, who is the CEO and founder of Trans Gentlemen of Excellence, LLC, or Inc. Incorporated. Yes, it is very long. And, before the break, we had kind of touched on the bathroom scandal, and that that was a hoax. That was just for someone who wanted to run for office and they needed something to kind of get behind it. It was just after they passed the marriage equality bill, so it was just something else to grab onto since the marriage thing flew out of their hands. But I'd like you to do something for my listeners, and I'd like you to have the same patience you had with Patrina and I in the nightclub. Can you talk about the acronyms? It's a whole alphabet now, and you kind of you schooled me a little bit. So let's talk about the acronyms: LGBTQIBCDEF. What are they?
Okay, so the L is for lesbians.
Okay.
The B is for bi. The G is for gays. T is for trans.
Now gay. So this is also a generational thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the generation above me, so the baby boomers, for them, the word gay included everybody. Mm-hmm. Okay. So nowadays, gay is just meaning men. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've got bisexual, which could be men or women. Mm-hmm. We've got gay, which is just men. Mm-hmm. Lesbians, which is in theory, girls, just women, yes. Right? Okay, so we have L, G, B, and then T for the trans.
See, T is a gender. It's not a sexuality. So that's where we are often left out. Trans is not a sexuality. There are trans guys that love other trans guys, or trans guys that date trans women, trans guys that date gay men, or either cis men, like straight men.
Right.
So that is the confusion in the community.
So T is a what?
A gender.
T is a gender?
Yes. transitioning. You're either
Okay.
binary, which is you don't conform to any gender, and then non-binary. Non-binary is where you don't conform to no gender, and then binary is you're a trans woman or you're a trans man.
So here's the letter that really bugged me was the Q. So queer, why? So queer in my generation was almost a cuss word. So people used to fight. It was like the F word, right? That people used to use back in the day. So if you called someone queer, those were like fighting words. Today, what does queer mean?
Queer, this is just my opinion.
Okay.
Queer is just like actually your freeness. You're choosing to do what you would like. Honestly, queer is just.
Is that like gender fluidity?
Gender fluid, yes.
Is that what queer means?
To my opinion.
Oh, thank you. I got something right. Okay. So.
That is actually my opinion. Once again,
Okay.
Queer is actually, I see a lot of individuals that are gay men, trans people. Some individuals identify as queer.
Okay.
So it's honestly, it is a sexuality.
What is I?
I don't know.
Wasn't that intersex? I
believe so.
Katrina's saying yes. Okay. I'm not
Okay.
sure what that is either. All right. When we come back on Financial Renaissance with the M's, we're going to talk about the money movement workshop that Jay is hosting this week, starring me, when we come back in 300 seconds. And we are back live with Financial Renaissance with the M's. You are watching me, Emma Folks, and our guest, Jaye Meggs. You are listening to us live on ssnatl.com or sensationstationnetwork.com. You can also watch us live in the studio at facebook.com. Just go to Sensation Station Network's Facebook page, hit like, and then you can see the show in all of its full production value. If you have any comments, feel free to text us at 678-613-5857. All right, Jay, I appreciate your honesty and candor. Listen, I always have a lot of questions, and I appreciate people that I can ask questions of, people that can be extremely honest with me. And as like I told you, being in a nightclub, which really wasn't the place for the conversation,
It was a good
but it was the time I needed it in my life. So, I know as a trans person, there are tons of questions that people ask you, right, that you may not necessarily want to answer. And not just you, but a lot of transgender people that we have. So what are some of the questions that you wish people would stop asking you?
About our genitals.
Oh,
We don't want to talk about, like, our meeting you is like a first date. I shouldn't have to talk about what I have in my pants or in my shirt. Like, that's as well as trans women. Those things are off limits.
so
Like,
no asking questions about genitalia.
yes.
Okay, so you hear that? Don't ask a trans person. What questions can they ask?
My pronouns. Ask me what my pronouns are.
Okay, and what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are he, him, and they, and them.
He, him, they. You can't do that.
Yeah.
No.
But I don't go into the space and be like, my pronouns are going to be they, them, and he and him. So answer to all those. I will legitly be good at he and him. I choose to the they and them because in the non-binary world, it's so many things I can relate to.
See, non-binary. There you go with those words again. All right. So
Dang.
my pronouns are she, her, hers.
Yes.
That's right. It's not difficult. She, her, hers. Got it. All right. So let's talk about this workshop that we're doing.
This is going to be an amazing workshop. Honestly, a lot of people want to know about financial literacy. So it's a beginner's class for individuals to start knowing budgeting, to start the year off great with budgeting, learning about their credit and how to build it. There's always a turnaround. You do not always have to go towards bankruptcy, and then bankruptcy is not always a bad thing. There's good things towards that as well. Just educating on the things that are not put out there for
Well,
us.
bankruptcy isn't like people like it used to be. You're not absolved of all of your financial. I mean, it just doesn't work like that. So you're still going to have to pay something. But I will definitely be talking about credit, what you need to do to rebuild your credit. How do you I guess if there's stuff on your credit report that's not correct, what you do to get that straightened out. And then how do you check it, keep up with it so that you can, your credit score is important.
Yes.
If you want to borrow money, that credit score is important. The better your credit score, the less you have to pay to borrow other people's money. And that's what it's all about.
I don't think they talk about that enough in high school, so people leave out of there uneducated on how to develop themselves.
Yeah, that, and then knowing the difference between needs and wants and credit cards, and just, we put ourselves into this position because we want to, back in the day, we used to call it keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Yes,
keeping up with the Joneses. So now it's like, what are you seeing this person do in this music video, and what kind of car are they driving, and watch do they have, and things like that. But you may not necessarily be at that tax bracket point. So you don't need to be doing the things that you see other people doing. You need to rock in your lane. I grew up in New York City. I lived in the Bronx for the first 10 years of my life. And, I absolutely hated it because my mother wouldn't let me have the things that I wanted. I wanted Jordache and Nikes and blah, blah, blah. And she wasn't having any of it. She was a foreigner. So she was all about, you wear these jeans from Sears and these Bobo shoes and, you know what I'm saying? Mark 5s, things like that.
They lasted.
Well, I don't know about all that. But I don't know about all that. But, it's staying in your lane until it's time to move to advance to the next level. And if you advance to the next level before it's your time, you end up hurting yourself, and that's not what we want to do. I want to also give a shout out to some of the Facebook groups. We have Black Business Owners Connected watching us, and Black Entrepreneurs Network. Thank you also for watching us. What are if people want to attend this workshop, how can they attend?
They can find the flyer on Eventbrite, Money Management Workshop. Follow us also, transgentlemenofexcellence.org. Facebook as well. We have our Instagram. We don't really use our Twitter, but we're working on that.
Well, forget about Twitter. Just Instagram and Facebook.
Yes.
And Eventbrite.
Yes, as well as our website.
And how much are the tickets?
The tickets are $5.
Oh, that's not a lot. That's nothing.
As we try to make sure we're educating at an affordable
price.
And then that money, the proceeds go back to our care packages, to the community, as well as any other needs that we come up with in our meetings.
Okay. Question for you. MTF.
Male to female.
FTM.
Female to male.
Question mark, T, question mark. No.
I don't know what that is. That's just a questionable situation.
So what is non-binary?
Non-binary, they do not conform to a gender. They were not able to choose a gender at birth. They were assigned one and did not.
Okay.
Agree.
All right. Yeah, I've still got more questions because that's,
that's one thing we do. Also, we educate on those because I have some non-binaries that know more about that area than I could speak on. So we also host and allow those questions to get asked. You can email us questions and we'll be.
So you're a resource for the community?
Yes.
Okay. So if people, what is the email address if people want to email?
admin@transgentlemenofexcellence.org, or either you can just go to the website and contact.
Okay. And people can ask the questions that they want to ask. What if they want to donate money to your cause?
You can go to that website as well.
And what's
www.transgentlemenofexcellence.org. We would appreciate that. We fund ourselves.
Aw. Well, thank you, Jay, for being here today. I know this was a tough one. I will see you on what's the date?
The 16th.
Thursday the 16th. Where at?
At Positive Impact.
Where's that?
That is in Decatur off of Church. I can't see that.
523 Church Street in Decatur, Georgia.
Yes.
I don't know the zip code, but yes,
Google.
Can they just show up and pay at the door, or do they have to get tickets? Okay. So yes, if you want to go to a money movement workshop where we'll be talking about credit, what to do to strengthen your credit, what we'll do to get your budget right, the things that you need to do. We're going from the grassroots, from the beginning stages of managing your money. You want to come out to this workshop on January 16th in Decatur, Georgia. See you when we come back after these break. Back with Financial Renaissance with the M's. All right. What a great show we had today. Listen, I want to thank once again Jaye Meggs for being here and being so patient with us with the questions that we had. And again, if you have questions, you can always reach out to Jay at their workshop, Trans Gentlemen of Excellence Incorporated. You can ask them the questions, and if you want to donate, you can also donate to them there. But listen, I want to talk to you about the jobs numbers. The jobs numbers were released this past week. I think it was Thursday, and the U.S. jobs market ended 2019 on a sour note, with December's payroll and wage growth missing actual expectations, and this is according to the Department of Labor. So it looks like non-farm payroll jobs increased by just 145,000. Unemployment again held steady at 3.5, but again, there's unemployment and then there's underemployment, and the majority of Americans that are making, say, under 50,000 are underemployed. The economist survey by the Dow Jones, they were looking for job growth of 160,000, but we only came in at 145,000. Now, the jobless rate met expectations for staying at a 50-year low. So our unemployment is at a 50-year low, but it's not really helping us. In addition to that, to the slow payroll growth, the average hourly earnings rose by just 2.9%, which is below the 3.1% projection. So when we're looking at wage growth, we're talking about keeping up with inflation. So inflation is at about 3%. So the cost for bottled water, gasoline, milk, eggs, cereal, things of that nature typically grow by about 3% annually. So we're looking for workers for their hourly wages to grow greater than the rate of inflation, but that has not happened. Another thing is we had to revise the numbers, or they, not we, they revised the numbers for job growth from October and November. November's came down 10,000, and October's also got readjusted negative 4,000 jobs. Unemployment for African Americans rose 3 basis points, so 0.3%. So African American unemployment rate is 5.9, which is well above, almost double that of the national unemployment rate. Let's see, in some other areas, retail, their jobs grew by 41,000. That's because of the holidays. Same thing with leisure and hospitality. That has to do with the holidays. And then healthcare jobs grew by about 28,000. Construction was also up 20,000 jobs, and manufacturing down by 12,000. Transportation and warehousing also down by 10,000, and then coal mining was down by about 8,000. So that's a normal situation for us. And then the average number of working hours per week right now is holding steady at 34.3 hours. When we come back on Financial Renaissance with the M's, we're going to talk about my market movers and losers and some other things that are happening in our economy. And we are back with Financial Renaissance with the M's. You are watching me live on Facebook, facebook.com/notdumbdown, or you are listening to me on ssnatl.com or sensationstationnetwork.com. You can also listen to us on TuneIn. Just go to Sensation Station Network on TuneIn. And again, if you want to provide a comment, have something that you want to say, you can definitely drop your comment in on my Facebook page or on the station's Facebook page, or you can text us at 678-613-5857. That's right. All right. There is an arms race happening in the banking industry, okay? Last year in 2019, banks spent billions, again with a B, 9 zeros, comma, another number, on technology. JP Morgan Chase spent over $11 billion on technology. Bank of America spent over $10 billion on technology. And Citigroup has spent about $8.5 billion on technology. And as a matter of fact, Citigroup is hiring 2,500 programmers in the cities of London, New York, Dublin, Ireland, and also Shanghai. They're planning to recruit 2,500 programmers this year as they look to bulk up their coders and data scientists for the unit that contains its trading and investment bankers. So a lot of these companies are looking at ways of I guess, technology is here, 5G is coming, AI is coming, all these things are coming. So they're looking at ways of beefing it up. So the move comes amid a shift in the industry as major banks are spending more on electronic programs, and they're looking to unlock greater cost efficiencies and also introduce new products to clients. So if you are looking for a job, if you're in an industry that is going away, again, you've got to think about the industries of the future or the careers of the future. And right now, technology is at that top of the list. By 2025, an estimated 65% of the jobs that are going to be available in the United States of America are going to require a college degree. And a huge portion of them are also going to require technical skills. So if you are not familiar with computers, get yourself familiar with it. Right now, no matter what city you live in, there should be some little booklets coming into your homes from local colleges. And with those local colleges, they may have classes on coding. Sometimes you can get it done for free. Sometimes you may have to pay maybe $100, $200. Use your, your lunch money, right? So instead of going to lunch every week, that's about $50 to $60 on a weekly basis. Save that money and use that to pay for a class. All right, another thing that's happening is the company called Roomba that has that little robot that, does all the vacuuming. They are actually looking at creating a robot that is going to do dishes. That's right. You may not have to do dishes anymore. There's going to be a robot in about 5 years that is going to do the dishes for you. So I'm ecstatic about that. My wife and I are ecstatic about that because neither of us likes to do dishes. I think we need a Consuela. All right, what's happening in the markets right now? On the Dow, closing the week, what we had in the positives was Pfizer, Coca-Cola, which is champagne of the South. Here in Atlanta, Coca-Cola is the only cola beverage that we drink. United Healthcare Group finished up, Visa as well as Verizon. The top 5 decliners was Boeing, which we know they're having issues with that MAX 737. And here's something I want to say to people about that. So there was an email or emails that were released where some of the employees called other employees clowns, and there was a lot of negativity about the construction of said plane. And when you don't do your job, the ripple effects of that is beyond what you can even think about. So Southwest Airlines may be laying people off because of this 737 MAX, because that's what they built their fleet of airlines over, was this Boeing jet. So again, people not doing their job, it has a ripple effect. So whether you work in the private industry, whether you work in the government industry, do your job to the best of your ability. Doing just enough to get by is not the way that we're going to win in this country, because when you are slow at what you do, or you do the bare minimum just to get your paycheck, it has an impact, and there are other effects that we don't want. Also negative this week, Travelers Companies, Dow Inc., United Technologies, and surprisingly, JP Morgan Chase finished down about 1%. And then we've had, of course, Exxon, Chevron, Walmart, Caterpillar, they also finished down. From a sneakerhead stock, all of them, everybody was down except for Foot Locker. So Adidas, Nike, Puma, Under Armour, Skechers all finished the week down. Foot Locker finished they finished up, but not by much. Most of the luxury brands, Ralph Lauren was up, Tapestry was up, Tiffany up. Let's see, cannabis, all of the cannabis companies that we follow were down. But again, when a stock price is down, it doesn't mean that you run away from it. When the stock market is down, or when the companies that you like, when their prices are down, it's on sale. That's how I want you to think about it. And then from the gaming stocks, they're all down. Microsoft, EA, Zynga, Activision, all of them are all down. So again, if you're looking at buying some sneakerhead stocks, cannabis stocks, luxury stocks, gaming stocks, this is something that you should be looking into. Go ahead and pick one up. When we come back on Financial Renaissance with the M's, we are going to have my market movers and losers. And we are back with Financial Renaissance with the M's, and we are continuing with our Market Movers and Losers segment. All right, we have Adidas. Adidas AG is beating Nike Inc. on Wall Street. Over the last 12 months, Adidas shares are up 56.5%, while Nike shares are only up 33%. So Nike has actually outsold Adidas, but the valuation of Adidas is more. So while Nike is still the industry leader in terms of sales, Adidas is the most profitable with a gross profit margin of close to 52.808% compared to Nike's only 44.7. So one of the factors that spins and magnifies the buzz for Adidas products has to do with high profile collaborations such as Pharrell Williams, Run DMC, Kanye, Bape, and also Beyonce with Ivy Park. So that's really taking Adidas over the top. And can we get a hand clap for Tesla? Just throw it in when you can. So Tesla's market cap is now worth more than General Motors and Ford Motor Company combined. That's right. Elon Musk is doing the thing. Tesla shares have roughly doubled in the last 6 months, giving the Silicon Valley automaker a market capitalization. And market capitalization means how much can you sell your company for. The market cap of Tesla right now is $84.5 billion. So they are just shy of the combined worth of General Motors and Ford. So Tesla's selling for about $500 a share. And now there's a partnership between Lyft and Chase credit cards. So it looks like starting January 12th, which is today. Yes, January 12th, most Chase members are going to enjoy extra reward points or cash back on Lyft purchases, while premium Chase card holders are going to get a year-long membership to Pink. And Pink is the high-end subscription service from Lyft. So Chase and Lyft are teaming up in the wake of, there was another partnership between Uber and American Express. But with the new Chase partnership, if you have a Chase credit card that is part of this partnership, your annual fee for the credit card is going to go from $450 a year to $550 a year. And Chase is also launching a partnership with Dash Pass, which is a food delivery service. Okay. Well, in order to earn back the entire $550 for the annual credit card fees, you're going to have to spend about $3,650 on Lyft in order for all the savings to add up. So I think it's a good partnership. Chase has some other stuff that will benefit you if you have the Sapphire Reserve card, like you'll get $200 in annual airfare credit. And then you also get a free Priority Pass membership, which gives you access to airport lounges, all over the world. So kudos to them. Let's see. So some of the stuff that I was working on way before Jay even got here, we were talking about the differences between tax preparers and accountants. And here's something that you need to know about tax preparers is that a lot of them, as I mentioned, may not have the credentials, the education behind them. And so you're going to want to check with the Better Business Bureau. If the person that you're dealing with is not a CPA, you're going to want to look on the Better Business Bureau and make sure there aren't any complaints. Also, put that person's name in Google, put them into Google, type the word scam next to them or imposter or something like that to make sure that they are not fraudulent. That's going to help out. And then if you need free tax preparation, AARP, you can go to their website. They have free tax prep, free tax assistance with your returns between February 1st through April 15th. Or if you want to become a tax aid volunteer and help people prepare their taxes, you can go to AARPfoundation.org/tax aid, or you can call 888 now. Okay. And if you are in a city with one of the big four accountancy firms, we're talking about EY, PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, who else am I missing? KPMG, and also Deloitte. Sometimes they will actually do pro bono tax returns. So you can Google pro bono tax preparation in the area that you live, and there may be people that can actually help you do your taxes. So that should help out just a little bit. Now, one of the things for people who are, say, 10 years out from retirement, everyone is talking about living in livable cities, places where you can ride your bike, catch a Uber, grocery store down the street, just more functional. And they are now making cities livable to serve older residents. So Sioux Falls, South Dakota is one of those places where about 28% of the people on their transportation systems are 55 and older. And they are making their bus system better for older people because it looks like they had waiting times of 30 minutes or more in the frigid Midwestern weather or temperature. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to come up with an on-demand experiment without routes and schedules, so people will be able to get picked up and not have to sit out in the cold and wait for the bus to come by. Also, Phoenix, Arizona, which is another place where people usually go as they get older. The problem in Phoenix is that the rising temperatures can pose health threats to people that are older. So what they're looking at is developing something called cooling corridors that make the outdoors more bearable and keep voters, just kind of keep things right as people are, waiting outside for public transportation. They're going to make sure that there's ways for people to keep their body temperatures down. When we come back on Financial Renaissance with the M's, I'm going to tell you how Americans lose $17 billion annually by getting bad advice. All right, and we're back with Financial Renaissance with the M's. We have a question. Do I think Adidas is winning because of adding a celebrity like Beyonce and the major consumer or majority of consumers being women? So again, I think the Adidas is winning because of a lot of the partnerships, higher end partnerships that they did with people. It's not just athletics, it's also fashion, and there's, I think they call it leisure, some sports new leisure type of thing. Another question is Tiffany Brown Rudolph in Atlanta? Where'd that come from?
No, she's the one that had the question.
Oh, Tiffany had the question. No, Tiffany Brown Rideau. The question is from Tiffany Brown Rideau in Atlanta. Okay, yeah, that was why. Because of Beyonce, Pharrell, Kanye with the Air Yeezys, and then I think it's Bathing Ape. Is that what BAPE stands for? You don't know. You're supposed to be my go-to, my ear on the streets. All right. So Americans have been losing about $17 billion annually because they've been getting bad advice. And so here are some tips for you to avoid making some of these mistakes. So the problem is when people are looking for financial advice, they tend to go after someone called a financial advisor. Unfortunately, who is a financial advisor or what is a financial advisor? Everybody and their father can call themselves a financial advisor. You can be a mortgage broker, you can be a car salesman, you can be a stockbroker, you can be a bank teller. Anyone that touches money or takes money from you and puts it towards something else could be considered a financial advisor. So there was a report that was done by the Obama administration back in 2015 that came up with the number 17 billion. But here's the thing that you need to do. You need to watch out for invalid credentials. So again, the term financial advisor is a catch-all. It doesn't mean anything at all. So there are now about 200 credentials that an advisor can use. So you're going to want to whittle that down and figure out which ones are the certifications or licenses that you need to know about. Who should you be taking advice from? There's three. One is called a certified financial planner or a CFP. The other is a certified financial analyst or CFA. They do investment management. And the other one is a CHFC, which I'll get into in a little bit. The next thing you also want to do is make sure that they're in good standing. So if they are supposed to help you with your investment management and things like that, they should have a securities license or be licensed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. But if they are FINRA licensed, you can go to FINRA.org and look for broker check. Put that person's name in as well as the name of their firm or their broker dealer, and make sure that they're in good standing and that they do not have any professional misconduct. Okay. You can also, let's see. Where else can you go? So you can go to broker check on the CFP board's website. They have a search tool that will help you find professionals. The Securities and Exchange Commission have an investment advisor database. So you can go there, and anybody that you're dealing with that tells you that they're a financial advisor and they can help you with financial planning or investment management, you better be able to go online and look them up on a federal website. Okay. Let's see. So again, we're going to be looking for invalid credentials, and we're also want to make sure that they are in good standing. So the places that you want to go to for the 3 designations, there's a CFP, there's a CFA, and there's a CHFC, which is Chartered Financial Consultant. And these are the people, the only people that are allowed to help you federally with planning and things of that nature. If they are not a CFP or a CFA and they're a financial advisor, they have their Series 7, Series 66, you're actually going to have to do some research. Again, by going to FINRA.org, you can put in the license that this person has, say Series 7, Series 66, Series 24, and you can find out legally what they are able to do. Now, if they are an insurance agent and they do not have a securities license, they should not be giving you financial advice. They have enough knowledge to talk to you about the insurances that you should be getting, but that's where we should draw the line there. They should not be providing you with a financial plan. They should not be talking to you about retirement plans or things of that nature. So you're going to have to, hey, I tell you what, call our office, 404-633-9952, Greenwood Wealth Management. If you have any questions about a financial professional that you're dealing with and you're not sure, you can even send us an email at info@greenwoodwm.com, and we can let you know the type of information that you're getting, whether or not you're getting information from the right type of person. All right, looking at some other cities where you will be able to move to if you're older and you want to make sure you're going to have the ability to get around. Columbia, South Carolina is another city where they are making improvements for older residents. So getting around town right now in South Carolina is difficult unless you have a car. So what they're doing right now is improving their bus systems and offering new options like car services. So the ridership increased by about 70% over the last 5 years. They're having tons of older people that want to get around. Older people may not be able to drive, they may not be able to see or what have you, but they still want to be able to get from place to place. Now, the benefit of this is that the younger people, millennials, also want to live in the same areas that older people want to live in. So what we're doing is we're bringing a sense of community back. No one wants to be in the suburbs anymore. So older people don't want to be in the suburbs. They want to be in the cities. They want to be around the action. They want to be near the arts. They want to be near the theaters, and they want to see young people. You know how you stay young? By watching young people. When you see young love walking down the street in the spring, it makes your heart smile. You know what I mean? And it's also beneficial because when you live near older people, your kids tend to act better, because you know who's going to see all the nonsense that your kids are doing when you're not home? The older people, because they're home all day. I can't tell you the numbers of neighbors that used to be waiting outside my house in front of the tree to tell my mother the crap that I did while she was at work. So it is a win-win. If you make communities better for older people, the young people are going to come, and people that have kids are going to come, because again, older people are good for paying attention to what's happening in the neighborhoods. Now, for the older people, reason why being around the younger people is going to be good for you is to make sure that you're not a shut-in. If you go downstairs for coffee every morning, or if you go to the grocery store every Tuesday, people are going to start tracking your comings and goings. And if they don't see you, someone will come looking for you. So that's the benefit of being in a city livable environment. So that's something that you're going to want to think about as you're planning for your retirement. You're going to want to think about places where you're going to be able to live out the end of your days. Now, the last place that's making themselves a livable city, and I think we may want to look into this, is Miami, Florida. Now, Miami has always been a city where the older people have flocked to. But as a grandparent, imagine if you live in Miami, your grandchildren will always come to visit you. Miami is a party capital. So your grandkids are going to want to go to the beach. They're going to want to go to the clubs. They're always going to be around. Your house will be the house that everybody comes to visit because you're near everything great. So Miami, what they're looking at doing right now, their problem is housing is expensive. Okay. If anytime you want to live near the ocean and have beautiful weather, you're going to have to pay a little bit more. So what Miami is looking at doing is they're going to divert some city funds to help pay rent and identify lands where more affordable housing can be built. And so now about 1,000 older residents have gotten new rent subsidies, and research has found that millions of square foot of underutilized land is now available for development. Now, if you are looking at moving to Miami, remember, don't move near the beach, okay? What is near the water now, in about 10 years, may be underwater. So you want to move inland, probably about 5 or 10 miles. But again, Miami is going to be one of those spots that you're going to want to move to and have those grandkids come and visit you. When we come back on Financial Renaissance with the M's, my Emma knows money, and I'm going to tell you the differences or 8 questions that you need to ask when you're choosing a CPA or a tax accountant. And we are back with Emma Knows Money. This segment of Emma Knows Money is brought to you by Greenwood Wealth Management, making Wall Street work harder for you. So here are 8 questions that you need to ask when you're choosing a CPA or a tax accountant or tax professional. You want to find out whether or not this person who is preparing your taxes have what is called a PTIN or a PTIN. And what that is a preparer tax identification number, which is assigned by the IRS. And it is required for anyone who prepares or assists in preparing federal taxes for compensation. So what you can do is go to cpaverify.org, which is a free CPA lookup tool, and you can verify the status of the tax professional that you're looking at dealing with. Then, does your CPA, what type of license do they have? So there's the 3 type of licenses that a tax professional should have that you're looking at working with. So one should be a CPA. The second should be an EA, which is an enrolled agent. And the third can be a tax attorney. Okay, so the CPA, as I mentioned earlier, is the highest level of accountant, and it is a tax advisor who's passed an exam, CPA exam, and they met a whole bunch of work experience requirements that's required by the state. Now, a reputable CPA maintains the highest standard of knowledge and ethics. They also have to have ongoing education, continuing education. So CPAs can be auditors, business advisors, decision makers, and tax consultants, okay? Now, an enrolled agent is a tax practitioner who's licensed at the federal level. And again, a tax accountant, CPA, and an enrolled agent can sit with you if there is a situation and you're being audited by the IRS. Now, a tax attorney holds a law degree, okay? And tax attorneys specialize in the legal side of tax preparation. So you're going to want to have one of these people if you're doing, if you're looking at transferring wealth. So from trusts and estates and things of that nature. Or if you already have a letter from Uncle Sam, then you definitely want to get a tax attorney, because tax attorneys can stop the IRS from garnishing your wages or imposing levies, and they're especially skilled at negotiating compromises with the IRS. Another question you want to find out is whether or not your CPA or tax accountant is a member of any professional organization. So the IRS Pro Association's partner page lists some of the top organizations that CPAs should be listed with. So you'll want to go on their website and take a look at that and figure out, because typically if you're part of an organization, there are people that know you and, you should be in good standing. So they say. Then another question you want to ask a CPA or a tax person is how much do they charge? Now, the National Society of Accountants released the national average for a professional to prepare and submit taxes. So for a regular 1040 form, we're looking at about $175. For a Schedule A, $275. For a Schedule C, about $460. And so if you have if you have a partnership, a S corporation, a regular corporation, each one of those requires a different tax form. And depending on where you live, the size of the company that you're working with, the population in the area, the economic strength of the area, those are all determining factors of what's going to happen with how much you're going to pay in taxes. Now, they may charge you a fixed fee for each tax form. They may charge a fee based on the previous year's fee. If there's any additional changes, like marriage, children, divorce, buying a new house, retiring, etc., that fee could go up and or down. Then they may charge a minimum fixed base fee, and again, determining on the complexity of your exact tax situation. Then they may do value-based fees. They may do an hourly fee. And again, they may just do a fixed fee just for plain and simple data entry. Now, you want to ask your CPA or your tax person, how do they handle document transfer? Again, we're in an era now where, identity theft is a big thing. And there are also other countries who are at war with us from a cyber standpoint. So you want to make sure that the documents that you have don't get into the wrong hands, because all of your personal information are on these documents. So they should do things like mail, whether it's snail mail, the United States Post Office, FedEx, or one of those things, or even a courier service. They may even email. But again, in this day and age, the email should be encrypted, both sides, from you to them, from them to you, etc. And then another thing that a lot of accountants I know are doing is a secured online portal. And usually it's encrypted 300 or 256 bit. You upload your documents, it's encrypted. When it comes back down, it's encrypted as well. So you want to make sure that they have the ability to encrypt and store your documents securely. Another thing that most tax preparers should have is an electronic filing identification number. And the IRS assigns this number, a EFIN, to firms or sole proprietors who complete an application and pass suitability assessment, to become an authorized IRS e-filer provider. So you have to ask your tax person whether or not they have the ability to e-file. Now, here's the most important question of complexity. If you are, working at McDonald's, or you've got, a regular W-2 job, you may be able to do your taxes yourself. Being audited may not be a big deal. But once your tax returns and your life and the way you earn incomes becomes a little bit more complex, you want to make sure that that person that's doing your tax returns gets to sit right there with you, because they're kind of on the hook with you just as well. And then the last thing, one of the things that I'd say, and it's not even really a question, it's just more of a warning, the person that's doing your taxes should also not be paying your bills, okay? You want to make sure you keep those things separate. It's okay for a bookkeeper to work for the same CPA firm. That's fine. Actually, that's advisable. My lawyer told me to make sure that that happens. If the bookkeeper makes a mistake, the CPA firm is on the hook. But you want to make sure that these people are not paying your bills. That needs to be someone separate. If it's not yourself, it needs to be someone completely separate from the CPA or the people that are doing your books and that are also filing your tax returns. There has to be a checks and balances. So somebody has to be able to come in and make sure that the numbers that they're putting in front of you are actually correct. And the last thing that you should do as a professional person is just really understand what's going on with the tax law. There's tons of CPAs out there, but there's different types. There's certain CPAs that are only going to look at what you hand them.